Thank you very much. It never kind of gets old hearing the accomplishments. It's kind of sometimes makes me go back and go, my gosh, it was so long ago. But I think the honor for me to be here for the Rising Stars and what you guys have committed yourself to and what you want your future to become is basically a symbol of greatness. And as I kind of go through my accomplishments and goals and how I feel I got to where I am today, I think the most commonly asked question for me is, what does it feel like to win an Olympic gold medal? What are you thinking about at that moment? What is the reward? And winning my medals over a decade ago, each and every time that I get to bring them and present them, it's kind of like standing on that podium all over again. From 1996 on, the national anthem has always meant something different to me. And of course, the aspirations and the faith that my grandfather had in me was huge. So since I know we're probably in the safest building in Hillsborough County, I know my medals aren't going to disappear. And I may be a swimmer, but I can kick heels off real fast and run. So no, I'm just kidding. I'm going to go ahead. I'll walk them down here in front and give you guys the opportunity to see the 3 Olympic gold medals. These are not a prototype, they're not a copy, they're the actual ones, and you can see they're starting to show some wear and tear. One of the Sydney medals is actually a little bit bent, but it's you have the option. You can stick them in a case and stare at them, great, woohoo, but the ability for me to share them with you and for you guys to actually see them, take a picture, put them around your neck if you care, just do not put them in your pocket, because I'd like to walk out with 3. So I'll go ahead and start them. And I think I'll kind of start by first kind of present day on where I'm at and kind of how swimming has brought my life kind of full circle. Being inducted in, as you heard, being inducted into the Tampa Bay Sports Club Hall of Fame in 2009 was really an eye-opening experience for me. It was the same year that I had retired from swimming competitively and was in that transitional phase. And at 29, 30, believe it or not, I was thinking to myself, what do I do next? And I had to sit and think for a number of times, because my accomplishments, I was so young. I was in 1996 between my sophomore and junior year at Durant High School, which I think we have a few students that attend Durant, so go Cougars. But the world and the community, and of course Tampa, first of all, did an amazing job treating me as that hometown girl and that hero. I couldn't have asked to be a part of a better town. But at 29 and 30, I had to sit down and go, who is Brooke Bennett? And you might go, what do you mean by that? Who I was and everything that I had poured my life into was swimming. It was a part of me, and I had always thought about what was I going to do after swimming. And I had started to pursue that. I got a degree in nutrition and was working as a personal trainer and a nutritionist, and I was really at that stage of I really felt like my next obstacle in life was going to be to open up a fitness studio. And as I was sitting in the audience hearing all the awards and the inductions, they actually, there were 5 of us inducted into the Hall of Fame that night, and they saved me for last. And it was a great introduction, and it was a great honor for me to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. But as I stood up there and gave my induction speech, I was still wondering, where does life take me now? And the great thing about that induction speech was Bright House Sports Network airs that banquet live on their station. And just so happened in the audience, our VP and station manager were there, and approached me that night and asked if I had ever thought about having a career in television. So you never know who you're going to meet, you never know who's going to be in the audience, and you never know whose life you're going to change and affect. And that was kind of the upswing to where I went, okay, now I know what I want to do in life. Now I know where I want to be. And Bright House has given me an excellent opportunity to stay true to my roots here in Tampa and cover the next phenomenal athletes. And I get to see some of the best go on to college. I still travel the country and see athletes by the thousands. And every time I come home, I am so honored that I live in Tampa and I get to cover the talent pool of high school athletes that we have. But my as I said, life was not always easy. As you guys look at the 3 Olympic gold medals, those are 3 individual swims that, yes, I swam amazing. I swam better than even I could have imagined. But to get 3 great races, you have to have hundreds and hundreds of bad days, bad practices, bad races. And I did. And so many times in sports and life, we glorify the highlights. We glorify those moments that are so spectacular. But it's the mornings that my body hurt so bad. It's the mornings that the alarm went off at 4 a.m. and I wanted to hit it with a hammer and never hear that sound go off again. But those were the mornings that I put my feet on the floor and I reminded myself of my dream. I reminded myself of my goal for that day. And I pushed through. I get asked a lot of times when I talk about my schedule and my daily routine and my daily grind, how do you do it? And the simplest answer is, I don't know. I just don't think about it. I just do it. Because I have a passion for it. I love it. I love what I do. And the busier I am, I feel like sometimes the more energy I thrive from. And when I needed my coach, he was there. I actually got a great phone call today. I got to interrupt this because he made my day. And it was, my coach is now training and working in Ireland. He runs Irish swimming, and he's trying to build that country up, and he does a phenomenal job. But he called me this afternoon, and I got to talk to him for about 15 minutes. And Peter Banks was my coach for nearly 20 years, and he is that person in my life no matter what I can go to. And if I just needed a hug on a bad day, I would drive over to the Brandon Simmons Tennis Club and say, "Hi, Peter, can you just give me a hug?" But people in my life have touched me like that. And for having a coach like Peter Banks to carry me through and to push me beyond my limits and beyond my limits on a regular basis. To where I looked at my swim coach and looked at him like he had 3 heads and said, "Are you absolutely kidding me? You want me to do what?" And then I would think about it, and then I would get this little attitude, and I say, "Okay, I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to prove you wrong." And I'm not the tallest person out there. I'm not the biggest. I'm not the strongest. I'm not the most talented. I swam against girls that were 4 or 5 inches taller than me, that were stronger. But every time I stood up on the block and every time I raced, I knew that the 7 girls standing on either side of me didn't train as hard as me. They didn't want it as bad as me. And maybe they did, but to me, that is what I believed. And there was never that moment of doubt in my mind when I got ready to race. And I truly believe, and every time I sign an autograph or anything that I do, it's 2 simple words for me. It's dream big. And I believe in that. I really do. I do not believe that you have to have an athletic background to be great in sports. I don't believe that you have to come from a family of lawyers and doctors to go on and be in the top of your class, or to go on and pursue your dream in whatever you may choose to do, because you're the individual. We're all made different. We all have our own little special thing. And that's what makes our race amazing, because we have the ability to create who we want to be. And it was a sense of confidence. And I always tell people there's a fine line between cocky and confidence, and you just have to find it. And sometimes there's an interlace. It definitely will. But if you believe in yourself and you get up and perform, and I got up and raced those 3 races, it was no longer somebody could say, oh, that Brooke, she's just so cocky, she thinks she's better than everybody else. Because at the end of the day, I was the one standing on top of the podium. I was the one getting the Olympic gold medal. So it was a matter of confidence and believing in myself. So dreaming big is really what inspires you to accomplish anything. And along the way, you have to have little dreams. You have to have a sense of pride. You have to have a sense of dedication and sacrifice to be the best at anything and to excel in your job and to excel in college. It's being able to know when you can do something and when you can't do something. And I can go back and list things a mile long on what I gave up as a kid, what I gave up as a high school student, what I didn't get to do. But I can go back in that same list and I can say, I got to do a million other things. I got to see the world. I got to dance with Prince Albert. I got to, go up to the top of the Eiffel Tower, travel to Australia 3 times, brush elbows with movie stars, whatever it may be. Whatever it was always in the back of my mind, this is where I belonged. And my grandfather was that inspiration. I do not know to this day what he saw in me and how he was so adamant and never, ever let up on my parents for almost 3 years. But he kept saying, she's a fish. Put her in the pool. Get her swim lessons. She's going to become something. She's a swimmer. And my mom's response was, she's 2. What do you mean? What do you see? And I never got the answer from him, but it was something. And he was an athlete. He played basketball and baseball. Bobby Knight, Hoosiers. Like, my grandparents had to get the huge satellite dish just to get the basketball games because he was just fanatic over the Hoosiers. And he got into swimming later on in life and did it for exercise, but he loved the sport. And it wasn't like I was like, oh, the first grandchild born. I was the second on my mom's side of the family. But that summer that they put the pool in, and I have pictures of me in the pool, months old, laughing and giggling as they're filling it up to the surface. And I think from his persistence and his guidance to my parents, and then probably the fact that I am hyperactive, probably helped. And my mom said, okay, I'm going to take her to swim practice. I'm going to get her swim lessons just to get my dad off my back. And then my mom soon realized, if I take her to swim lessons for an hour, like 3 or 4 times a week, she's actually normal. Mom gives the best story. She says one day she came home and she said, Brooke, I need to make dinner. I need you to just go sit on the couch and read a book. Okay. So I went and pulled a book out of my room, and I came and sat on the couch, kind of. She turned back around, and I was upside down with my feet on the back of the couch. But I had the book open, and she goes, Brooke, I asked you to read the book. I am, Mom. She goes, how are you reading it upside down? Magical powers. So I was always looking to kind of twist what my mom wanted me to do, and I was always wanting to do it my own way. If somebody was sitting next to me reading a book normal, then I was like, I'm going to do it this way, and it's going to be better. And I think that's why I ended up being an only child. I think my mom was like, I can't take another one like this one. But as a part of my triangle of success, it would definitely be my parents. To the parents in the room, it's tough. I don't have kids yet, and I think about it, and I look at the challenges, and I tell parents to this day when they ask me about their kids and what do I do when they're having a bad day? What do I do? Do I push them? Do I not? As parents, I believe the responsibility is to always be there for your kids no matter what. And my parents did that for me no matter what. And it didn't matter if it was in swimming or if it was in school or it's now in my life today. I came out of retirement in March. I've been training for about a year, officially came out of retirement. And I went down to Sarasota this past weekend to just race an event. And my dad and his girlfriend came down, and whenever I swim, they want to come still to this day, which is awesome. I'm like, this is so cool. And it was not a great race. Didn't swim really where I wanted to be and what I wanted to do. And my coach tortured me Saturday morning when I went to practice because the swim was so bad. But I came up to the stands and they said, how did it feel? I'm like, tough. I felt like I was tightening up. And my dad goes, it's okay. It doesn't matter. I just love to see you swim. And I'm like, that just makes me smile. I'm like, that's just awesome. It never was about becoming an Olympic swimmer for them. It was just, they knew that me being in the pool made me happy. They knew that was my calling. That was kind of what was going to make me me. And to be back in the water today and looking at my swimming career and going, first of all, why did I come out of retirement? Why do I want to put this much pain on my life? Why do I want to be so sore that I can't even move? I think my traps were sitting like about an inch below my ears this morning before I got a massage, and I was walking like this because I couldn't move. But my massage therapist, Christina, made me normal today. So lucky for you, I'm not like, don't touch me. But it is a part of my life, is it a part of who I am, and I feel like being back in the water, it gives me the opportunity to do not only great things in this community, but great things across our nation and great things across our world. There is no bigger honor than, as an Olympic team member, you get all types of clothes. You get all types of T-shirts, and this says USA on it, and pants that say USA on it, and red, white, and blue shoes, and jackets and all this kind of stuff, and swimsuits that have the American flag on it. That is all cool. Very good stuff. But as a swimmer, there was one thing that I wanted so bad. They give you your swim caps, and they have the American flag on them. And when you make the Olympic team, that American flag actually has your last name on it. So when they give you those caps, those swim caps, and it's the red, white, and blue American flag, and then Bennett on the bottom of it, I was like, wow, I really made it. That was the coolest part. Forget everything else that they gave us and the free food and the free clothes. It was a swim cap. I mean, I grew up wanting that, just wanting that. And the story and the message is obviously dream big, to pursue what you want to pursue and go after it. Never ever settle for less than what you believe is your best. And today's good is better than yesterday's, and tomorrow's is better than today's. And my motivation was simple little things, whether it was to satisfy something that I felt like I couldn't accomplish, whether it was to see the smile on my grandfather's face, whether it was to prove my coach wrong. It was always the little things, but at the end of every day, I knew that if it was in school or if it was in swim practice or now in my job, that I can wake up and I can go to sleep knowing that I devoted every bit of energy that I possibly could to that day to becoming better. And hey, along the way, I've got to do some pretty fascinating things. And I'm looking to do more fascinating things in my career in swimming, and of course in my job with Bright House Sports Network. Thank you.